Yo, what's good, y'all? You dub back here again in 2020. Here we are in April, baby. And while we just chilling at this time, let's talk some One Piece. So, there's hell of a lot of One Piece content we could talk about. But this is kind of spurred off the most recent chapter of One Piece. If y'all watching my channel, y'all probably there is no spoiling because most of y'all are already caught up with the manga. But regardless, we're not really going in deep with the chapter. I just want to point out, like, I've been thinking about this a lot. I've talked about Luffy, I've talked about different pirates and the captain's personalities. But the pirate captains of the worst generation, okay? Mentality, I've been talking recently with homie. Shout out to Eric if he watches this. When Alchemist, good old Alchemist, mindsets and mentalities and how they dictate who we are, how we interact with the world, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive others, how we interpret information, how we perceive information, how we go. It affects everything, right? And so your perspective really is everything in life. And it encompasses and encapsulates or can mold your entire worldview. And the four pirate captains of the worst generation that we know the most about are, of course, Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy, Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, Eustace Captain Kidd, and Capone Gang Busy. Beige, however you want to say his name, right? Now, some can say, well, what about Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach? I put him over in the Yonko category. And we also don't know that much. We know about as much about Teach as we do, let's say, Jewelry Bonnie, maybe a little bit more. Um, Former Rear Admiral Red Flag X Drake, who we found out more about the whole sword situation and his allegiance to the Marines, which makes a lot of sense, honestly. Especially with his name based on Drake. Um, when you look at it, let's see, what are some of the others? Oroge, the Mad Monk himself. We really don't know that much. I did a video months ago about Zoro and Uroge's whole Buddhist parallel situation there. Let's see. The Magician, Bossa Hawkins, we clearly don't know that much about. Roar of the Sea, Scratch Me Not Poo, we don't know that much about, right? And I don't think I'm missing anybody. Let's see. And so, you know, we have all that situation. Those other worst generation crew, besides not knowing much about them, their mentalities, we can dig deep dive into further, but I don't think they're as much into the pirate world as these other ones. Now you can say, well, Scratchman Apu, he joined Kaido, cool, cool, cool. X Drake, we know where his allegiances lie. Hawkins is doing Hawkins, figuring out probabilities. Like, he's just a dude. He's pirating, but he's a dude on the high seas. Like, ain't really doing crazy. Jewelry Bonnie's, she was in some espionage break Kuma out situation last time we saw her. And Mad Monk is doing Mad Monk. We don't even know what Eroge is getting down to. We don't know the motivations of these other ones, but we knew it over the four. Now you can say, well, isn't Luffy, the whole fifth Yonko, fifth Emperor? Some just dismiss it. I don't. I know others don't as well. The thing is, he's the up and coming. He's the promising. The rest of the Yonko are pretty much middle age. I mean, Shanks is 39, but he's knocking on middle age. The rest of them are grown folk, and Luffy's only 19 at this point, so he's a young man. When you look at the four of them, like I said, based off of that, the reaction to the whole ship situation with the long range tank turrets that fired at them, I thought that was significant. That showed Oda did that. Oda is intentional with some of his panels. Some of his other panels, they're just whatever. But that panel we found it struck me more than most of them from that chapter. Is 976? I think it's 976. Or is it 977? One of the two. Anyways, the ones where my man Jinbei is back, baby. And so that whole tank turn situation, you had Law say, pretty much, damn, he's outmaneuvering us, right? And he was doing a strategy. We see Law's mentality. Luffy says, straight ahead, we got to get closer, pretty much take him out. Then you have kids say, I don't give a damn as long as it's not about us. Now you can say, well, why do I bring up Capone? Because Capone was an interesting thing. You look in the comparison in Whole Cake Island, right? The thing about Capone is some would try to say he's like Law, but no, he's not. No, he's not. Each of these four pirate captains shows the difference in mentality of how to really run leadership, a criminal enterprise, if you will, uh, how to run an empire differently. Because we got to give it to credit. Capone was a Don of Dons in the West Blues. So you got to put some respect on his name. You can't just say, well, you like, well, it's one of the blues, bro. You don't just become the king, the emperor of any proportion without being legit, especially in the underworld, right? Look at Judge in German, right? The Vin Smokes were trying to gain the help of a Yonko to conquer the North Blue. So put some respect on Capone's name. Plus, look at his bounty. He's still 300 million, which is not chump change by any means. Like after 300 million, it gets very, very difficult for people to raise their bounties. Plus, Capone, he's not even out here. He's not being kind of reckless like Kid. He's not doing the big feats like Luffy, and he's not, conniving and meandering his way like Law is. He has a different strategy altogether. So let's look at these four pirate captains and see which one you actually relate to. May not even be your favorite character. Maybe you're actually a Capone. Maybe you're a Kid. Maybe you're a Luffy. Maybe you're a Law. I'm more like Luffy. No shot. I mean, I love me some Kid. Law, he's a cool character. Capone, I rock with Capone as well. But I know I'm more like Luffy. I'm a little different than Luffy, but I'm more like him. And what do I mean? Capone's mentality and mindset. In order to gain to the top, create chaos. But do it strategically and plan shit out. But when things pop off, have the ability to adapt. Obviously, he's based on Al Capone, and we'll get back to why that's important later. Look at Law. Law is literally meticulously planning everything out. Here's the thing. He's a tactician, he's not a strategist. A strategist is more teach. Teach strategizes for days, right? I would say Luffy's better strategically. I would say so is Capone as well as Kid. All of them are better strategic than Law is. But Law is a tactician. He plays the game. He's looking to play chess. The problem with Law is, I'll get into the flaws of each of them, but just think about his plans. None of his plans have succeeded. Then there's a reason for that. But keep it in mind, some people are tacticians. A lot of people hype up Law because he's such a tactical genius, right? Now you look at Luffy. Luffy is a straightforward brother. Luffy makes plans and things on the fly. Luffy is the highly adaptable type. He's the guy that has charisma. He's a guy to get her done, right? He's a guy to make. He's a man of action. Kid is one who is Mr. Independent. Luffy, he's a man of action, but he likes gathering people around him, having great leadership to the point of, you know, having people fill in where he's weak at. Okay? Have people help with his strengths. Kid don't act like that. Kid's mentality is I'm going to get it done. And I'm going to get people who can help me out with my goal. But I'm going to gung ho guns a blazing. He's kind of like Kaido in a sense, but a little bit different. Kid is Mr. Independent. Like you have Miss Independent, he's Mr. Independent. And y'all can come along for the ride. I love those who rock with me, but he's very insulated. He's very isolated in how he acts. Okay. And so what we have here is you have the strategic genius in Capone who is able to make plays upon plays upon plays and wait for the opportune moment, which is again different from Blackbeard, the ultimate opportunist in his form of strategy. Um, Law is the type of planner who wants everything to go according to his, his plays and how he envisioned and whatnot. He will use things to his advantage, but he in a way gets things close, but keeps them at a distance as well. So he's that kind of guy. Luffy is a guy who lets things come to him, goes head first into it and figures things out on the way, kind of a MacGyver, a jack of all trades kind of situation. And Kid is a guy who brashly just deals with stuff straight up. If you with me, you with me. If you not, then it's us against the world. Fuck the other side, pretty much kind of thing. And so I mentioned Capone being like Al Capone. Obviously, Oda took it from him. But if you actually studied Al Capone to a degree at all, you will see what I mean. Like, Capone's strategy isn't bad. He's a kind of guy, because he's a mafioso. He's the kind of guy who could become Pirate King. Really, he could actually become Pirate King. And it's kind of scary how he become Pirate King, because he's looking to take out any threat to his dominion. He says he wants to cause chaos, but in order to cause chaos is created, and it's created for a reason. It doesn't just happen. You create a power vacuum, and then you swoop in and become a king. You saw his plan to take out Lin Lin. He was planning that, and he's like, "Ooh, Luffy gives me that opportunity." And they would have succeeded if Lin Lin go big in them. It wasn't such an absolute monster. So imagine Capone doing what he does over a time period, or waiting till the Yonko get old. He would be the kind of guy that waited till Whitebeard gets old and then goes after Whitebeard. He infiltrated the Big Mom Pirates to take her head, bro. Scratchman on Pooh didn't do that. Hawkins didn't do that. X Drake didn't do that. I'm saying in terms of Kaido. Think about that. You played the long day. Jinbei didn't act like that. That's some next level shit. He wants to be the king, but he wants to do it by hook or by crook. Enemy by any means necessary. That's Capone right there for you. Ruthless. Luffy respected his practical ruthlessness, though. You notice that? It's crazy about it. The lesser of two evils kind of brother. That's Capone. You look at Law, I'm trying to think of a comparison to Law's character. Law, I would say, is more, I don't want to say Ulysses S. Grant. I think he's more General, I think it was Cromwell? Admiral Cromwell? I'm trying to think of, yeah, it's Charles Cornwallis. I had to look up for a bit, because it's been a while since the American studying of the American Revolutionary War, right? So Cornwallis, Law is a kind of dude who, if he had a lot of forces, he'd be good. He's the kind of dude that would be phenomenal as an admiral, or a grand general. The problem is that Law, he hasn't built up his forces. He doesn't have a grand fleet like Luffy. He doesn't have fleets like the Yonko. So Law's type is, he would be most beneficial as a leader of a fleet. The thing is, he's got trust issues. And so he's not able to utilize his key potential to the way that his pattern is. So he is self-defeating. Then you have Luffy. Now, some may say Genghis Khan, some may say Alexander the Great. A lot of these grand military generals, where they were just, we go, we conquer. We don't, some could say maybe not Alexander the Great at the end, because he just wanted to keep going. But Luffy knows when to pick and choose battles. Luffy's got a great mind for it. He knows who the enemy is, who he needs to attack, and he trusts in his troops. And thus, his morale built. He's able to gain via his charisma, via his leadership model of, I'm going to personally go out and do it. A King David, if you read the Bible, right? To where his people want to follow him and want to go to battle with him and for him. And so Luffy has that kind of potential. And when it comes to Kid is the kind of dude that people follow. He's a dude that his lines, where he draws his lines, are questionable and morally vague. He's the kind of dude that gets ruffians, gets thugs. He would be a great gang leader. All right. So when it comes to it, Capone is again coming from his mafioso, his Don situation. He's a guy that would rise through the underworld as he did. Uh, Law is more of a military mind. Like he would be best suited more for the Marines than he would in the world of pirates, unless he was able to get a massive pirate fleet. But in order to do that, you have to be more like Luffy, where Luffy is a pirate's pirate. Okay, he's like a Goldie Roger, Rox D. Zebek, Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki. You know, look at the Yonko, Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach, Kaido, 100 Beast Kaido, Big Mem, Charlotte Linland, Red Haired Shanks. He's a pirate's pirate. He does this for real out here. It's real out here with Luffy. And he's willing to die for it too. When you look at Kid is he's a kind of dude who he would be better suited in gang shit, gangland type stuff. So, which is different from mafioso leading. So, you have these four different models. Now, which one's better and which one's not? It just depends on who you are. You have to learn who you are, and each of them are flawed, which we'll get to in a second. If you're the type, and realize most of us fall into one of these four categories, right? If you're the type who knows how to lead men, knows how to lead, because you could take this underworld strategy from Capone and become a leader of a CEO of a major corporation, right? That's the kind of mentality. If you're the kind of guy who plans things out and is willing to do what needs to be done as well as act when hiccups come, because they do come in life. If you have any endeavor, I don't care if you play team sports, I don't care if you're running a business, in your form of a career, any job that you do, parenting, I don't, whatever the case may be, there will always be hiccups that don't go according to plan, and you're able to adjust. You're also able to learn when is the opportune moment to do it. This is great for if you're in the stock market and deal in that matter. Okay, so that's more of a business mind, if you will. You can translate instead of just doing in the underworld, you can translate that into this is a head of a large business, a big business, right? Those are the kind of guys you want. If you're that mentality, you Capone. The law mentality. You're the kind of dude, like I mentioned, a large scale affair, a guy who's a great planner, a guy who oversees an entire project, like a great foreman or a general, a colonel, or things of that nature, where you have a lot of moving pieces. But Law, unfortunately, is the kind of guy who, they say paralysis by analysis. He thinks, overthinks. He's an overthinker. So if you're that type, be very mindful and wary. Learn how to trust people. If Law knew how to trust people better, he would be right where Luffy is, where he would also have very powerful allies. Look at his crew. We'll get to crews and these flaws, and we'll get to the crews after the flaws. So Law has potential. A lot of people see potential in Law. A lot of people see themselves in Law or aspire to be a Law, but don't understand the ramifications of Law's style of leadership. And when it comes to Luffy, Luffy is one of the best leaders I've ever come across. He's never made a piss poor decision as a captain. He's only made good decisions. Now, personally, he has flaws. So obviously, Oda, given the character flaws, he screws up himself. But as far as show me one time where he's made a bad decision for his crew. He's always looked out for the best interests of his crew. He's also knows what to do. Now the thing about Luffy is Luffy lets people do. He's a great leader because he allows people to live as they are. But Luffy's never going to be the head of a massive entity. He has a grand fleet, but the fleet are allies. He's like, I don't want all of you. No, 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 no. I'm with me and my crew. Y'all can do what y'all want. Now, if y'all want to follow me, y'all want to, ride with me, cool. But I'm not, we all friends, we all family. He is an entire family mentality, which is great. You just it wouldn't work in the big business. Luffy's more of you know, a small scale entrepreneur. But he's looking to benefit everybody else in his wake. He's about freedom. All right. He's a kind of statesman who's a Patrick Henry type. Give me liberty or give me death. Everybody gets free. And because I can get it, I'm gonna benefit everybody. You feel me? Kid is the kind of guy people can think of barbaric. He's that old tribal leader where it's just my tribe. I'm going to lead it by my strength, by my power. If you're a fan of Into the Badlands, season three's main villain, Pilgrim, is a kind of law kind of character where they lead a ruthless force. The issue that I mean not law, Kid runs into, excuse me, is that Kid he hasn't found himself. I believe he's only 23. He's a little bit older than Law and Luffy and Zoro, all right, Sanji and all of them, right? So Kid's still young, and he's got even worse trust issues than Law does. And so, in order for him, if he was a clan's leader, right, he would be great. The problem is that he takes things too personally. He's too hot headed. He hasn't gotten to the veteran point. If he was in his 40s, I think he would be a different character altogether, in a good way, in a positive way, to where he's been through life's experiences. Kid is the one who has to learn through the school of hard knocks. People say, "Oh, Luffy's plot armor." No, Luffy doesn't make the mistakes that Kid makes. Now, look at the flaws of each of them. Capone, like I said, he's got a lot of benefits to his type. The issue that Capone runs into is he himself is not. He's capable. He's very skilled, but he relies too much on other people. Look at his devil fruit abilities. Look at how he relies on his mob, his mafia, his family, right? And so that's the one flaw in those kind of people is that they rely too much on others in order to prompt up their success. It's a beautiful thing, but it's a double-edged sword. See what I'm saying? Just like look at a Don of a mafia family, or look at a CEO. Without all those workers, where does that CEO leave him? High and dry. When it comes to law, I mentioned his whole thing is trust issues, you know and also paralysis by analysis, so it's a double whammy. In order to be great, he would have to let more people in, but he doesn't really allow people to come in, and he alienates. He's the aloof type. He rather is hands off, but in order for him to be successful, it's the paradoxical situation that he needs other people in order to help him be successful. Plus, he thinks too much. Instead of allowing things to flow naturally, he thinks things will just play out as he will. And his adaptability rating has not been shown to be good. He's got to learn. When it comes to Luffy, Luffy's steadily learning. He's learning to be a leader. He's learning more so to be a man. And Luffy's just whole point is a more serious demeanor. It's maturing. His is just a growth process. That's his only flaw. He just got to grow. Gotta grow. And that just takes time and experience. So Luffy has, I think, the least flaws. He is flawed, but his is just a matter of time if he just lives a while. Okay? Remember, he's only 19 years old. So um when it comes to kids is his is maturing, his is trust, his is learning when to go and when not to. Like his is literally all of the problems of the other ones all boiled into one pot. Like all of these could potentially be the top dog if they could overcome their flaws. Luffy's the closest. Then I would say Capone is, even though Kid rivals Luffy. Capone is genuinely like if Capone set his mind to it, he would be right up there with Luffy. But then again, he's also the oldest of them, so you have to take that into consideration. Like he's way more advanced in age and experience than all these young bloods. See what I'm saying? So there you go. And as far as in the whole thing with crews, you look at the crew structures; they just exhibit everything I've said. You have a family. Like we know about Gotti and Vito. We don't really know the rest of the crew when it comes to the fire tank pirates. And it's fascinating because the fire tank pirates, they don't even rock with kind of like families. Like they don't rock the Capone. They don't rock, you look at the naming of it, it's interesting how theirs is completely different than a lot of the other pirate crews. Red hair pirates, you just look at the Yonko crews: Beast Pirates, Red Hair Pirates, Big Mom Pirates, Blackbeard Pirates, Whitebeard Pirates. right? Those are all indications of the Yonko's personality and their epithets and things of that nature. When it comes to Capone, you don't have that at all. It's something bigger than himself. When it comes to the Heart Pirates are weak as fuck. If the Heart Pirates went to war against any of these other pirate crews, they would get decimated and destroyed, bro. The Fire Tank Pirates are running through. Beppo's okay, John Butter, he's okay. Sachi and Pingo, like what are the Heart Pirates, bro? Like it's just a bunch of buddies there because Law hasn't understood. He's got more members than possibly all the other crews that are on this in this discussion. But the Heart Pirates ain't doing nothing. They are weak because Law himself relies too much on external factors rather than building up internally. The Straw Hats are by far the most powerful crew of this. And add in Jinbei, that's just another example. Luffy draws in. They're 10. They're probably the smallest crew, but man, they're absolute monsters, bro. Each of them are capable. Like when it takes even the quote unquote weakest of the Straw Hats, Nami, who's the weakest, Usopp, they would be Paradise pirate captains. Chopper can hold his own in a fight. Frankie was that dude. Frankie was a gang boss himself, right? You look at Sanji, very capable. Zoro was his own man. A man like Zoro would not follow a weak leader, right? Jinbei, once again, was a Shichibukai and a leader, a captain, a boss, the boss himself of the former Sun Pirates as well. This dude is highly experienced, yet he follows Luffy. Brook, experienced all these cats. Robin, Nico Robin, highly capable. All these people follow Luffy because he's a phenomenal leader. He's a phenomenal person to put your bets in. They trust this man with their lives, right? And so Luffy's crew is Nakama, his family, also how he treats them. He holds them responsible. But at the end of the day, he knows when to man up, have the balls, and be the leader, and they know when to look to him. He allows the freedom, and in that freedom builds trust, and in that trust builds a cohesive bond of an absolute monstrous force that ever since they entered the New World, and you just add in Jinbei just upstairs standings, they were already a top 10 most dangerous pirate crew in the New World as soon as they entered after the time skip. You look at the Kid Pirates are nice. They have potential. Um, Between them and the Fire Tank Pirates, let me know which one you think wins in that war. Again, the Straw Hat Pirates, they just run through all of them. Hey, let's be honest. Like, come on now. Straw Hats over all of them. The Straw Hats are a Buddy Yonko crew. Let's keep it real. Like, the Straw Hat crew could actually fight the Don Quixote Pirates. The rest of them crews, I don't know if they're coming out. The, the Fire Tank Pirates, though, they nasty. The Fire Tank Pirates have a shot, dude. Joker would be a problem, but at least the Fire Tank Pirates have a shot. The Kid Pirates the crew is of him and his homies, but different from Law. Like Law picked up John Boy. Kid is like the kind of dude that roll with his homies the long ways, bruh. The long ways. Where Law kind of was a mix between Joker and Sir Crocodile. Kid is like a mix between Kaido and the Joker. Okay, where Kid has folks he can trust and whatever, and they ride with him, and he's about them. But the thing is, they're not strong. They haven't built up, and they just rush into things because of Kid's leadership. Now, Killer is there to give them advice, but you see what happened to Killer and whatnot. So Kid's crew has a lot of work to do in order to reach the top. Now they above Law's crew because Law's crew is too fucking weak. They just too weak, bro. The Straw Hats are obviously the closest. Then you have the Fire Tank Pirates, right? So I do think the Fire Tank Pirates probably would defeat the Kid Pirates, and because of the strength in numbers. I think Kid has about 3, 4 killers, but the rest of them not cutting it. And the Fire Tank Pirates are a bunch of killers, bro. The Straw Hats got some killers on that squad. Feel me? So that's how it is. Unexpected one to like, comment, subscribe. I didn't expect this video to go this long, but I love these fascinating discussions. you know, and where things can entail and what Ode is delivering. Because when you really sit back and look at it, instead of when you look at the story, like each of these personality types, each of these leadership styles has impacted the story in the direction in which each of these characters are going. And people just saying plot armor, get that mess out of here. Look at the characters, who they are. Look at the flaws, look at the strengths, and look how they managed and ended up. And it's not a shocker that each of them are doing what they're doing. It's not a shocker that some of these have failed drastically rather than some of them have succeeded. But these are my thoughts. What are yours? All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Till next time. Let me know if there's any topics of discussion that you would like, me to do, and we can, this is a free speech, free thought platform, and I do want to know what y'all think on this discussion because I find it very fascinating when you look at it and comparing it to yourselves. Which one are you? Are you a Capone? Are you a Law? Are you a Luffy? Are you a Kid? Just let me know. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just something of self analysis and seeing how we can all be better. Because me analyzing this, I'm more like Luffy. I have to, grow as a man and as a person. So there you go.